very good afternoon to everyone. We have a very distinguished panel here to discuss a very important topic called digitalization. And when we talk about digitalization, we understand that digital transformation has not been very simple as the term seems to be. It involves a lot of investment and it involves a lot of leadership from the CFOs. And so when we talk about digital transformation, it is again not a choice for companies today. The demonetization, GST and others happenings in the country as well as in the world, or where the banks or telecom companies are completely becoming digital, it has become necessary for most of the companies today to accept the digital world at, participating and giving better value to all its stakeholders. So with this eminent panel, I'd like to begin with by actually starting with understanding as to what they understand of the digital world. So my question to all the panelists to begin with is, what is the perception of today's CFO of the digital world? I request Mr. Hora to give his thoughts.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here and part of this discussion. So when you say digital, I think today we all see digital all around us. Whether it's mobile, whether it's computing, whether it's anything you see, everything is digital. That's the first perception which comes to mind when you think of digital. How I look at digital it is, for me, it's like social. It's a combination of social, mobile, analytics, cloud, and IT. And IT is like consumerization of IT. So when I say social, I'll just detail a bit on all these aspects. So when I say social, what is social and why is social? When a couple of years back in the 90s, the internet happened. So that era to today, so it's about why basically, and why digital. It's not because it's there, but why. I think that gives us the right answers. So because it's a need, it gives us flexibility, it gives us freedom. So that's about social. When I talk about mobile, it gives us non-intrusive approach. It's like when we are on the go, when we are traveling, when we are anywhere, we can just, without getting into the hassle of logging in and then sending the mail, we can just send any message across to anyone. So that's about being mobile today. And the whole world has become mobile today. And when I say analysis, of course, we all know it's about analysis and big data. So big data, as we all know, is like getting the right information from the big clumps of data, and we have all access to data in our companies, in our systems, wherein earlier we used to have data, but the data was in silos. Today when we talk about the data, this data is not only the finance data, which was more of a traditional way of working, when the finance team and the CFOs were just working in their silos on the financial data. So data is more of operational data these days, and finance function is more of at the center stage, being the co-pilot with the CEO rather, and they are helping him and the other function heads to make the right decisions based on that data. So why finance function on the data? Because finance is that function, I think, which have the professional objectivity which can help other functions to sort of make the right decision and validate the data. And when it comes to the last point, I would say the cloud, and as we all know, why cloud today? Because whether we want to outsource our servers to use as like a hardware or maybe as services as in a SaaS. So that's the play wherein cloud comes into play. So all this combined gets us into the digital. I think to have a digital, right set of digital strategy, we need to have a good combination of all these. That's how I view the digital.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Ankar. The rightly said that digitalization is everywhere. So if we go back a decade, what happening? So the desktop screen size is reducing. So we have a desktop, then we come to the laptop, then the tablets, then your mobile phone, then the watch. The next would be could be the iris or some glasses. Even Google is working on that, and it's available. So what's happening in the last 10 years? That the easy access of data is getting important. I do not need to go back to my home to access the desktop. The ticket is available on my watch itself, the notification that's coming. And that's the expectation most of the CEOs or the investors or the promoters need, that easy, quick access of reliable data within there's a fraction of a second. So if a sales is happening, RC would like to know what happened, where happened, and what's that trend. That's the main challenge we are facing as of now, and definitely we are working on that. What Mr. Pankaj said, that it's again, some people say that octagon of exponential, which include majority, advanced analytic, visualization, blockchain, Internet of Things, advanced analytics, mobility, that all come into digital transformation. We see all that digital formation in one or other form in all organizations.
Mr. Goenka.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are still able to be awake after a hearty lunch. So, what I will do, I will just travel backward, and then we see where the finance function has come today. I still remember when I started my journey, we used to write manual books. I'm not sure how many of you have written manual books of accounts. So, one of the struggles that we used to have was telling the trial balance. In trial balance nahi match kar rahe hai, that used to be the struggle. So we have come a long way. So from that we moved to Tally, kind of software. We started with small software. I don't even remember the names, but Tally was one of the stable software that came. Then Tally was still only a partial work. Everybody does their own work. And still procurement has their own system, own Excel sheets, sales have their own Excel sheet. Then we move to ERP. So ERP is one which has actually started the digital journey in terms of finance, in terms of the sales, in terms of the procurement, getting linked to each other. I was in an organization in Calcutta wherein we introduced ERP, a totally customized ERP. So we used to say that this is our requirement. It was very fun that exact things used to come out from the software. We were actually glad to see that, boss, this can happen, and this is actually happening. Now with the next wave which is coming, we are looking at mobile. Right now, still we are not into that much fully. We have ERP, but we still use our laptops or desktops to use the ERP. The next wave that is coming, and which will definitely be there, is that your entire ERP, your entire customer data, your entire procurement, your entire bank, everything will be on mobile. A lot of things are still there. We still get a lot of banking related information on mobile. We already have mobile based dashboards coming in. But I think the next wave will be the entire digitization of finance on mobile platform. So that's where a lot of value can be added. That's where a lot of gaps are still there, and that's where organization can use ERP to the extent, maximum extent possible, and a lot of value can be derived from that. So that's my view on how digitalization can take it, and definitely we are sure that it's only a matter of time, and everything, we don't have to really go and open the laptop also. Everything will be on the mobile.
Yeah, thanks. Actually, the way Sudhir has traveled back to history, so definitely we are all tempted to go back to history and see how this digitization happened. We used to use WordStar, we used to use Lotus 1 to 3, and as Excel came, it made our life easier. So definitely over the last period of 25 to 30 years, we've seen huge transformation in digital. We've seen the local custom-made ERP, we've seen Tally, manual books of accounts, and then the online banking transactions came, and there was a lot of apprehensions as to the online transactions whether they are safe or not. And I have worked in one of the largest telecom company, and in 2006, while I implemented online banking in my previous roles, I had to take a lot of effort in 2006 to approve online banking, online transactions. So you can see that even large corporations who are culturally very advanced, but the mindset as such is still not ready to digitize. So it clearly depends upon the culture of the company, the industry in which we are operating, the mindset of the promoters or the board of directors, and based upon that, as a CFO, we try to adopt the digital strategy. So in respect of finance, I can clearly say that I understand that most of us have already adopted ERP, but the challenges which we face till today, at least I personally face, is in terms of financial reporting. So while we still have ERP in terms of SAP or Oracle, but the sort of reports, the analysis, and particularly the analysis which the board wants at a macro level, at an enterprise level, those reports generally do not come from the BI tools. So while the BI tools are used by functions for their minute micromanagement and business analytic decisions, but when it comes to the CFO role, we mostly have to depend upon the manual Excel crunching, and that's where is the major challenge, I would say, for us. Online banking is a major challenge for us. So we have, as a CFO, I think we should work together and see how we can transition from Excel to the real digitization. Obviously, we have issues like workflow-based approvals. So there are many organizations which are using workflow-based approvals. And when we say workflow-based approvals, it does not purely mean the ERP approval, the PRPO process which is there in SAP. Because in a PRPO process, you only have approvals. You cannot customize it to multiple layers. Neither you can put comments and you can put more detailed notes which are there, sort of, we call it note for approval. I'm sure that how many of you use manual note for approval till now? Is anybody using manual note for approval, or all of us have digitized? So that's a good situation. Like I had implemented the workflow-based approval in my previous organization. So sometime around 2010, we had killed the process of note for approval, where the organization doesn't have any clarity that as to how much time, why the rejections are happening. The entire decision making gets stuck because the approval has not come from either the CFO or his financial controller. And then as a lender of last resort, the blame always comes from the finance department for delayed approvals. So we had created this workflow-based approval on an open source module, and finally it became very clear that every single approval is taking 21 days, and the majority of that, the delays or the rejections happen because there is incomplete information. So those are the issues which we as a CFO have to struggle. And as we see in the latter part of this discussion, we will also discuss that as a CFO, our role is not, we are not looking at digitization purely in finance functions. So that is only 20% of our role. As a business collaborator, we have to bring in the digitization in all functions in the organizations, be it customer delivery or order planning or HR management or the marketing side, where we will talk about the social media as a part of digital strategy. So as a CFO, our role is much larger than just limited to the finance function as a digital officer.
Well, I think very valid points were raised. When we talk about the digital world, we understand the digital world actually moves as an entire interconnected process of people, processes, and products in companies that are there. And it has actually saved a lot of costs to commissioning companies by saving especially the overhead costs of actually establishing different offices or units which are there. I would like to know from the CFOs as to which specific areas do you see in businesses today that can actually be digitalized, that can save major costs for companies today, and can really bring about top line and bottom line growths for the companies.
So when you talk about digitization of any function, I would say, of course, IT is the function from where it starts, which is the function which leads this. I would say, when you say which functions, I would say in today's world, if I see, is today's sales and marketing, I think they have taken a lot lead and they are spending much widely on this as compared to finance. Finance has been slightly lagging on this side, what I see. And when I see sales and marketing and other functions which are more customer-centric, I think they have started this much earlier. They have made changes at the front end. They have already put in softwares wherein they capture the customer data. A couple of companies I worked earlier, and in the current company, we have all the data which is captured for the customer. So it's called a complete customer journey, right from the time the customer walks into the store till the time he remains with us. I worked in a company earlier which was into medical devices, and therein the entire history of the customer is captured right from the day we enroll him with us till the time maybe he's with us 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And he buys a product from one of our stores in Delhi, and like we had more than 200 plus stores all over India in 18 states and more than 80 cities. So he can, like after 6 months or 1 year or 5 years, he can go to any other city and store and just tell his just name, and we have all his entire diagnostic data with us, and what he bought, where, what he needs now, we can help him with that. So I think that was the beginning, wherein the front end functions, they started it. When we talk about the sales and marketing, you would have also seen today, a courier guy comes in, the FedEx or a Blue Dart or anyone, they have this handheld devices with them. And you just put your signatures on that. You don't need a pen and a paper, and all the data, your courier, all the details are there. So I think that's how it started. Salesforce monitoring, then you call it go-to-market strategy. I think FMCG companies, I think they were the first ones to take a lead into this. Because if you don't do that, I don't think so we would have been surviving, and we would be having conglomerates like we have today. If you talk about companies like, say, Flipkart or at the other world level, other big companies, so you won't have those kind of organizations. Because a company like, say, Walmart, which may be having more than, I read it somewhere, 7 million products, and imagine more than 5,000 stores all over the world, they just can't work if they don't have digitization. So I think it's a necessity. It's a necessity. And in 90s, Jack Welch, who was the earlier CEO of G, he said to his team, destroy your own business. So what he meant by that was, he wanted to create the new business model. So when internet era came, he said, you need to now think new and how you can develop new business models. You can't be working like that. So this is what he meant when he said, destroy your own business. I think we have seen maybe 3 earlier industrial revolutions in the 19th century. It happened late 1800s. And then we have seen internet era. I think those were seismic changes, if I say, for the entire world and the industries. But today with digitization, I think this is, I would say, you can call it part 4 or the level 4 of the industrialization which we have seen, and this is much, much bigger than what we have seen so far. As per our report, the transformation which is going to be caused by this digitization is going to have an impact of $100 trillion over the next 10 years or so. That's going to be the impact of this digitization across the world, across all industries. Today we have a world economy of around $78 trillion, and out of that, say $12 trillion is on the manufacturing side. And manufacturing is again going to be a great part of this story, and there it's going to be having a major impact. So when you say any function, I would say it starts with IT, of course. We have already seen sales and marketing. Then comes, of course, supply chain. Today you see supply chain has got hugely impacted by this. We have chips in the products. Say the shoe which I'm wearing, it might be having a chip somewhere through which the company is tracking when it got sold from the warehouse and when it got delivered. So it's all being tracked. So we have robotics which is working on this, like for delivery, where it is all digitized. So Amazon, as you read today, they have made all the workflows all automated, and all robots are there like 6 times over the last 2 years. And in the first 6 years, from 2010 to 16, it was like the increase was maybe just 20%. In the last 2 years, it's gone like 4 to 6 times. You can imagine the speed of automation and the digitization. So I think it's going to be everywhere, in every function.
True, Mr. Singh. There's a study done by McKinsey on what CFO expect for the ROIs they are investing in digital. Close to 82% of CFO believes that if they are investing in digital transformation, they are getting a better ROI for the business. Again, PwC did one survey, which is Finance Effectiveness Survey. They did in September 2017, I think this year. In which, again, the number is quite surprising. 70% believes that transformation will definitely help to reduce the effort they put on doing the work, and definitely there is a reduction in leakages. Similar study says that, which Mr. Singh said, that it's by 2019, organizations across the globe will invest close to $2.1 trillion in the digital transformation. So everyone knows that digital is the future, digital is present, it is the future. And it's again, all the startups we are seeing is only because of the digitalization. That's the things moving from offline to the online mode. As far as my company is concerned, we have seen digitalization across all functions, be it marketing, linking of our SAP portal with the agency and different vendors, so that there's no delay in PRPO process. Things that comes straight into the system. Sales automation, yes, we have developed our own CRM system. Recently, we have introduced app-based tracking of sales employee. Earlier, they used to form manual forms when they come back from sales. Now there's an app which tag their GPS coordinates and give a report to the management that this guy has gone through this and did so much calls. Coming back to the finance, we have linked our staff welfare completely automated. There is no manual intervention, means there is no physical movement of forms moving from one table to another. I feel that gets approval as per DMP already into the system. More automation towards investment proof. So a lot of investment already have done that. But there is still there are some hiccups from management about further investment, because somehow we are not able to delink ourselves from our legacy systems. So the love for the legacy system need to go if we have to have the digital transformation, be it anywhere.
I will take 2 specific areas wherein I think digital has helped us. One of the, in fact, our industry, I am from real estate. Earlier, the real estate industry used to be either through brokers, you have a channel partners and then you depend on them, they have to bring the customers, or you advertise in a newspaper or put a magazine and then you wait for the customers to come. So that was highly inefficient. Now what we do with digital being available with mediums like Facebook, Google, Magicix also for that matter being available, you can target your audience and you can track it. If anybody shows an interest, you can actually bug him in a way to make sure that either he's either purchases or ends up purchasing or at least showing some interest, or he says, boss, I am not interested. So that has helped our lead generation a lot. So the quality of leads, the quality of audience, and right now I need not go to places like Dubai, Canada, just for an exhibition. I can do sitting at my office. I can even do virtual exhibitions. In fact, recently M3M did a bidding also. It's a very, very innovative thing that you bid for your flat. So that's where the things are. Now we are also in a process of even developing an app. But we are saying that every customer should have a app wherein he can monitor the progress of his apartment, his tower, his project. He can have his statement of account available. Although these are very, very common in case of banking parlance, but in real estate, there's a lot of scope wherein the comfort will be there. That okay, I have an upload on my mobile, although it's there in the website. But if you have it in mobile, I don't think the access and the ease of mobile is so much that it can never match that of a computer or a laptop. So the ease is there. Secondly, procurement is where we have seen a lot of value. E-procurement is something that can add a lot of value. What happens earlier, the manual process of inquiry floating, the order processing, all those were subjective. I'm not saying that anybody has an integrity issue or whatever, but you never know what is happening behind the scenes. Now with e-procurement, it's very, very transparent. The terms are there, you know inquiries have been floated to so many persons. You receive the inquiries and you process, you make all the procurement based on that. So there is a total transparency in that process itself. Thirdly, the entire customer lifecycle management, whether I'm saying we have handed over some apartments. Now with maintenance, we are in process of tie up with Paytm, wherein you can pay maintenance through Paytm. So the hassle of going to the maintenance office and somebody not staying in the city, he will not send a 4,000 rupees check to me. Now he can make an online payment. So those kind of things are there which are actually helping our efficiency a lot. So simple things like BRS, simple things like account reconciliation, all those used to take so much of our time. With digitization, everything is on your fingertips. You can have a daily BRS, you can have a daily reconciliation, you can have a better control. So I think all these all add up to the value, and ultimately your realization, your efficiency, your time for other areas. So you become more, earlier we used to be more like a steward, that okay, if you are a bookkeeper, you just keep your account. So now we are becoming more like a partner, more like a strategist. So the CFO role has changed because of all the technology being available. So you don't spend too much time on just analyzing the number or just reporting the numbers. So you can think on many aspects. So these are kind of things have actually helped us. So these are the major areas where I think, and also I'm not saying that we have reached up in icon. Definitely there is a lot of scope, especially in India. If you see in organizations like Amazon, we talk about where everything is through robotics. The entire material movement is through robotics and technology. In India, we have not yet reached that stage. So that gap is still there. A lot of way to go. We still need to automate a lot of processes. But I think we are moving in the right direction, and we can definitely see that a lot of more efficiency is derived in finance ultimately.
Yeah, thank you. I think in this entire module, we discussed two issues. One is that how to define the ROI on the IT initiative or digital initiative. In my personal view, that we used to call it COIE, cost of inefficiency. So when the digitization is not there, you have delays. You have delay in decision making, and the delay in decision making leads to delay in order, delay in sales realization, loss of customer, loss of repute, and lack of morale in the employees. Now these things are not measured. So when someone asks about the ROI on IT initiative, I think once again it is a matter of culture. There is no option left today for the businesses to not to go for digitization, because if you don't go for digitization, then somebody else will come and disrupt your business. So it is high time that the CFO, being a CFO fraternity, I'm sure that all of us do accept. But the management and the promoters, it is our responsibility to convince that there are certain intangible benefits which cannot be quantified, and digitization must be done. So that's one message. And secondly, we are talking about the areas in which digitization has to be done. This clearly depends upon the nature of companies. So there are certain companies or industries which have grown on digitization. So, for example, Uber and Ola, they have grown on digitization. The e-commerce companies, they have created a new market because they are able to reach to a larger mass. And obviously at the back end, they have created an infrastructure. They procure goods, they store goods. They have run the entire back end model, which is replacing the brick and mortar model. But we can say clearly that these are the businesses which are thriving on digitization. Similarly for internet, similarly for, I would say, banks, insurance, they have achieved a very high level of digitization. Telecom companies, telecom sector where I worked for 20 years. In telecom sector, everything is digitized. From site selection, you will be surprised to know that one site selection used to take around 28 approvals. 28 approval for one site selection, and while you have to have a go for market strategy, but with 28 approvals it is gone. But the moment it was digitized, the approval process became faster. So entire customer database, everything is digitized. But right now we are talking about the cross section of all of us which are working in different industries. Let's say in my case, currently I am working in a developer company, road BOT company. We have got national highways across the country, and we have to manage and monitor. There is certain leakage happens, when the vehicles are passing through the toll plaza. There may be some connivance, there will be some dispute, and they can pass through during the day. There can be some transaction between the toll collector and the vehicle owner. We as an owner will not come to know. And then particularly in the night, there is no control. So if people can skip the physical control, the boom barrier can open automatically. So it was a very simple solution. The way there is an NOC in telecom sector, we have implemented a control center in Gurgaon. So for all the sites, we are getting feed 24/7. And with just 2 employees at the control center we have established, and now all the toll plaza across the country, they know that somebody is monitoring. So, which means that with a digital strategy, you can scale up your business considerably, you can prevent leakage, and then, so based upon that, as CFO, the IFC document which we have, we should map the entire process which we have in the company, in all functions, not only in finance. I'm saying, once again, in HR, the customer, when the interview process, the onboarding process, the employee exit process, in production, the material ordering, which is PRPO process, how much production has been done, what is the current inventory, where it is moving. If we can map all the process and see invariably as to why this process cannot be digitized, either in the existing ERP, or if we can work on a standalone ERP, because we should not be totally fanatic that if this cannot be done in my Oracle, we can, till the time you get an ideal solution, we can continue to digitize standalone systems on an open source model if you don't have a ready-made, available, tailor-made solution. And then over a period of time, a solution will come which will encompass the entire business, which will give us scalability, and obviously we'll have a larger customer base and to grow the business. I think digitization is must for us to grow the business, to prevent leakage, and to have a sustainable business model, and cost effective also.
Just to add this, what Mr. Banka said. So first we deploy a digital solution, then disrupt that, and then innovate that. So that's the sequence everybody needs to follow: deploy, disrupt, and innovate. One example which I can share with my current organization. Magicbricks is a real estate portal where there's a visibility advertisement happen. So we feel that developers are currently want something new. So what we come across is the experience center. So we put up that experience center in 5 locations, 2 in Bangalore, 1 in Pune, and 1 in Noida. So Bangalore airport, if anybody have gone there, you just can see that experience. It's AR and artificial intelligence, AR, VR, that's a technology. So sitting in Bangalore in that experience center, you can visit any of the projects which are listed in that experience center and feel that. You can walk away into that flat, you can see, feel, touch, everything. So that's an innovative product that comes just because the digitalized expectation from the consumer to have something new from the regular kind of inventory which we have?
We understand that when we actually talk about digitalization, digitalization in finance made a major wave when it came in the securities market, especially when program trading came, and information was very easily available. People could actually judge the stocks which they were buying and selling. And when we talk about information, especially accounting information, financial information, which used to reach to them, that used to be easily assessed in a fraction of seconds and which were transferred into stock prices. That put a very serious pressure on the CFOs and the management as to that they didn't want to really become targets of takeovers, or they didn't want to actually see a slide down which was there. And as and when we see digitalization, if we talk about whether it's program trading, or we're talking about front-end customer services, or we're talking about digitalization and processes which are there, we find that the CFO's role has been becoming more and more challenging as the margins are shrinking. You know, they're shrinking all across because of the competition and because the investments which need to be made for startups for different companies has also reduced down. But the investments in the technology has not reduced. So the CFOs have to continuously evaluate several investments time and again to see that they are up to date. They are not only bringing one particular investment which is, let's say, meeting out with one specific set of digital innovation. They have to re-innovate themselves every now and then. And while they re-innovate themselves, they have to take with them the people together with them. So I'd like to know from this panel, as CFOs and as their journey has been, what have been the challenges and the opportunities that they actually see with this digital world changing time and again?
Okay, so on the challenges, and if we see the journey so far, how I would like to sum it up is like we had initially what we call is just a simple database. We started with automation. If we had just Excel or whatever softwares for accounting, we started with automation. Then we went to ERP systems. And now we are talking about big data and analytics. And by the time I think we do some progress on that, and it's already happening in the background, you see artificial intelligence and cognitive. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges. And as you said, that by the time we put investments into that, something comes up. Because technology moves very fast. And we as humans, I think, by the time we gain wisdom, I think science is much ahead of us. And as humans, by the time we move and adapt to that, I think it's just already a couple of notches ahead of us. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges. When people starting investing in automation of their basic systems and processes, it was already ERP. When people, our company started putting investments in ERP, it was big data and analytics. And now it's already, we're talking about AI and other things. So I think that's one. The other challenge is with the technology, I think you need the right set of people. That's, I think, one of the other big challenges. You don't need the best people, I would say, but you need the right fit, the right people at the right place. I think that's also very important. So three things, I think, which impact any organization are, of course, the people, the processes, and the technology, or the processes, whatever you call it. So I think that's an integral part of the entire system when you want to create a digital system or an ecosystem, whatever you may call it. I think that's very important. There was a study by GE in which it was said that companies worldwide are spending close to $400 billion, and which is getting, in fact, wasted because the way it is being done, the digitization, it's just not being done properly because everyone works in silos. Unless you adopt a lean approach so that you take a function and do it end to end, because by the time you do one function, then something else happens, so all that investments goes waste. So I think that's one of the other key challenges that's going to be there. That's what I see.
So what Singh said that basically CFO or everybody involved in digital transformation need to learn that. They have to learn, unlearn and learn. So that's the key. Also the systems currently which we are deploying has to be a way forward or a future oriented one. So that's the main challenge we face. Sometimes we have implemented a system and when a new technology comes we are not able to migrate to that system. So that the proper choice need to be made at the time of implementation any of the system. Thinking it from apart from say current year to the next 3, 4, 5 years down the line, how the system will migrate to the newer technology or a better one. The other challenge that comes is setting a right expectation to the top management. What is the ROI again? So their expectation is if anything is getting automated, there has to be a reduction in manpower in the finance department or any other department if there is a digitalization. So we need to see correctly when this curve will cross each other, means the digital automation ROI and the ROI from the current department cost. So I think these two challenges which I feel in the current organization having implementing a lot of technologies, giving a right justification to the management about cost of deployment and the migration.
I'd just like to add here that it has to be done across all functions simultaneously. I'm not saying that all functions maybe have to reach at the same level, but if one function is lagging behind, if you do it the front end and if the finance is sort of still on the manual systems or on the outdated systems, it won't be able to match the entire expectation of the customer. So I think it has to be kept in mind that
it has to be a fault department.
Yes.
I think one of the major challenge which we feel, which we faced is about the discipline. The discipline on implementing. When you don't implement it with intent to integrate your system and take value out of it, and you do your digitization just for the transaction sake. That okay, because of the transactions moving, I need to do it. So that's where you don't get the value. For example, as Sanjay was telling, the kind of reports that we are expecting, we may not be getting those kind of reports because we have not put our heart into that system in digitizing in the ERP. So that discipline across all departments, that vision, that looking at the bigger picture, that is a very big challenge that I foresee in implementing the digitization and taking most value out of it.
See, like maybe some context can vary. I would like to share my experience on driving the digital transformation in an organization. Obviously, the major spend of an organization for digital transformation is not in finance. It is around not even 5%. So basically, the major expenditure is done in the IT vertical, which is to serve all other functions. So I was the finance controller for IT in Bharti Airtel, and it was a great experience for us because I was managing almost around $800 to $900 million of annual spend. And if you read Bharti Airtel's IT strategy, it is said to be one of the pioneers in the world where it has been outsourced to IBM. And the payment to IBM is based upon the revenue which Bharti Airtel earns. So certain payments are direct in proportion to the product purchase, but majority are procured by IBM and they are supplied to Bharti Airtel and they are linked to revenue. So now see, when the organization is going up, then the outsourced service provider, they have gained. But what happens when the revenue goes down? So one of the good strategy which can be adopted by companies is that can you outsource your IT strategy to a third-party vendor and then directly link it to the productivity, because that is the only key area. The whole purpose of digitizing or digital transformation is to make the business grow, and that will be reflected in the revenues. So I will make a base payment. Now that base payment can be certain percentage, that you are incurring $100 or $1 million, I will pay you 20%, but 80% is linked to revenue. If that can be achieved by other organizations in India, I understand IDEA has also done the same thing. So if we can look at linking the IT procurement cost to revenue, that will be that is one of the tools which we can use as a CFO. And secondly, evaluating the IT products, the IT software is not, we are not IT experts, and hence it requires a lot of empathy from our side, so that we should understand the business process clearly, how they are being done by competitors, and then we have to understand the entire architecture. So when I used to receive the proposal for various functions in IT in Sheraton, I had to go through the entire architecture of the product. I used to ask as many stupid questions as possible. So it is not necessary that you should fight side of proving yourself to be an expert. We are not IT experts. We become expert by asking questions. And I used to use the principle of 5 why. I always used to use the principle of 5 why, get into the core of the product, and then till that moment of time, you can't decide the price. You can only understand the justification for the product, because there is a CIO who want to score a brownie point, who want to bring in a product, and while there is already an IT product in the arsenal of the company, so they will go on churning one product, one software or the other without saying whether it is a productivity or not. So as CFO, it is very important for us to understand what is the legacy or existing software. Through this transformation, is it going to get me extra revenue? Is it going to get me some extra mileage in the market or not? And then for the costing part, definitely costing is not easy to determine. But certain few thumb rules I used to use, that if one is called the source code rule, that if you go out of the business, then you will hand over the source code to me. I don't know how many people are using that, but this one is one standard principle I learned, that in any large IT product which you are buying, put a clause on the source code. One clause which I used to use was that this lowest price clause, that this price which you have offered to me is the lowest in Asia and in the world, and if at any point of time in next 3 years you offer the price lesser than the price offered to me, you will offer the same price to me retrospectively without being demanded. And these clauses, even though I used in large company, even when now currently I am working in a small company, but I use this standard everywhere. In large company, the moment you use this clause, you will get to the real costing. Then he will say that this price, you will get to reality, you understand. And one more clause was there, source code I have said it to you. Architecture, I think we also had one clause that we used to say that you will not offer this product to my competitor. So as a CFO, we can add value in the IT strategy or digital strategy of the company by adopting these clauses in our contract.
I thank all the panelists. I would like to now open the house for questions. So, yes, please.
Hi, thanks panelists for the insights.
Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Akarshan. I work with Macquarie Publishers here in Business Finance. Thank you for your insights. See, one of the key stakeholders in the finance domain is regulatory stakeholders, right? Given the digitalization talk we had, how do we, kind of manage the conflict or the differences between your own strategy vis-a-vis the requirements of or the pace at which the government or the regulatory bodies are working? What are your views on that? Did I make myself clear?
Yeah. So the simplest answer is you have no choice. So we know that GST, it has been mandated from the 1st July. So we started prepared, we got to know this I think 2 years back. So all the systems, be it IT or be from the government fund, are aligned to the same goal. As far as I know from limited experience, you really do not have choice. If the regulatory comes to some action, that you need to follow that. Even be it service tax credit, carry forward for the implementation and going forward the returns also.
The only thing I would like to add, what we can use as a digital platform to make our life simpler, map those reporting requirements to our existing data. So what you need, you can help make your life easy. You just don't need to just for the sake of reporting, you need to do a Excel or anything. For example, our entire GST network provider and GST service provider is the same software. So we don't really actually have to do anything. Just at a click of a button, everything is transferred to your GST network. So through that, you make your life much easier.
Hi Sanjeev, I'm Pooja and I'm working with startups. So just coming back to this thing that you just said that all our formats around can be similar to how GST wants it, right? How the government wants it. But when you are an invested company, especially startups and so many stakeholders, generally they want their analysis in all kind of ways, right? All different angles. So how do you maintain your book so that it is GST compliant also, it is as per the GST format also, and this is also what the investor wants?
See, as far as investor is concerned, as again Sanjay was telling you, we have not really reached a level that everything that you want is as per the format of your investor. Because today he is working in a format. By the time you develop it, he will say, "What SNE Mereko, I want to see it like this." So there will always be an evolution that will happen. What we can do at that most of the informations, most of the, as we say, the columns are there in the system. So you can just normally what we do as a process, you take out a report, customize it, do a pivot, and present it to the management rather than doing it again and again directly through the software. So obviously, however, if those are standardized, definitely we can look at making that directly from the software or digitization or ERP or whatever you can say.
Even the little experience which I have, I don't think that it is possible to generate the reports from any accounting system. It is the sort of decisions which you take as to what to disclose, how to disclose, how much to disclose, what not to disclose, and still be within the boundary wall. That decision computer can never take it. That decision the CFO will not sleep. 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock night he will be thinking, and then he will take a final decision so that it meets the requirement of the law, the compliance, and what is suitable for reporting. So that's my personal view. Maybe somebody else can say as to whether they are generating the investors report from ERP. Particularly at this juncture, when the organizations are shifting from AS to Indies, let's say in our case, we have become a listed company, so we are a holdco. We have got 6 SPV, so we have become Indies compliant. Other SPV are in the phase of Indies compliance. So we had to disclose consolidated financials. We could not opt for consolidated financial because some of the SPVs have not shifted to Indies compliance. But we still have to disclose the numbers to the investors under Indies standalone and consolidated. So the challenges which are gone through only I can understand. When things have not become clear, still you have to give a most accurate number which is unaudited but which has to be exactly same when the audit happens in March 18. These decisions can never be taken by a computer system. That's where we exist.
Any other questions?
Yeah. I'm Atul Jain from LNJ Bilwar Group. So, like you earlier told that when we customize the system do not give reports as per our requirement. Very little report for CFO.
Right.
So, what happens when we go to the developer for everything? They ask, okay, this is so much customization. They ask lot many money. So, there if you able to put any clause or anything where we can get more reports with.
See, I don't think that from the financial systems you will be only getting the plain vanilla books of accounts and trial balance. Ultimately, the policing which I call, when you have to polish a diamond to make it shine, that only a CFO can do. A developer will not have that ability. That ability, that wisdom, that learning we have gained over years. to present a raw diamond to a polished diamond. So I think that skill set is only with us. The computers, the artificial intelligence, they can never take away this fine skill which we have.
So all our jobs are safe. So we do not worry, computers are not taking away our jobs.
I agree with you that the figures, how they have been presented and all, it's okay that that polishing has to be done by the CFOs. However, what is a little drawback is that currently most of the ERPs which are there in the market, they don't give the statutory formats readily available. That should be there, because whatever polishing we do, ultimately we present them in a format which is statutorily prescribed. So those formats are normally not readily available in those things, because those are normally international companies and they are not customized to Indian standards, whereas the laws are very clear. So whether we talk of indirect taxation, whether we talk of direct taxation, whether we talk of the balance sheets, those formats are prescribed by the Indian government. And I mean, I think there should be some regulation which says that when you are selling a product for lakhs and crores, at least the basic, the final financial statement should come out in the prescribed format.
See, let me address this point. And this should remain within the four walls of the room. Right. We close the books of accounts in Oracle or SAP. Sometimes adjustment entries are not passed. Audit is completed, books are signed, financials signed. Sometimes people forget to pass adjustment entries. So when you will generate, if at all the ERP is able to generate the report in the statutory format, so the numbers will not match. I've been thinking on this for a long time. Some adjustment which you make outside the book. So there are not, I'm sure 100% of the companies, they don't pass all final audit adjustments in the books of accounts. Sometimes due to time gap, sometimes due to time gap between board meeting and audit report and so on. And then transfer of entries from one period to other. So I don't think that we should at this juncture expect that there will be some ERP which will make our life easier. And right now we're talking about only statutory reporting. Let's talk about management reporting. The budgets which you put in. How many ERP package are able to include budgeting, the budget numbers in ERP? I had implemented FM module in 2012, and this took me an effort of 1.5 years. So while I had implemented the FM module, which means I had included the budgets at the trial balance level, so whichever number I want, I can generate it. And we had got around, in the previous company, we had got circles across India. But if there is one company which got, let's say, 1,000 stores, will it be able to make a trial balance level budget for the stores? So how they will generate budget versus actual? These are very complex. I think that at least that is my feeling, that at this juncture we cannot expect ERP to generate the statutory reports given the speed at which these are finalized. When you are in the boardroom in 5 minutes, you are asked to take certain decision. Will you go back to your ERP and take a decision? You will miss the timelines. But yeah, maybe audience members can share their valuable inputs. Maybe someone has already found the innovation.
Yes, please.
Good afternoon. I'm Rajan Kaushal from Lumens Investors Limited. I take care of corporate accounts, and our auditors are also Big Fours. And we also feel that kind of pain that you discussed. We do consolidation also, but still, I make sure that each and every entry is passed, and we don't use next 4 business periods which are available in SAP. We keep that open. Only asset part we keep pending. So I think in most of the EIPs that facility is there, you can keep something pending and before switching on to the next year.
Yes.
So we ensure that in 1 month, because our monthly closing is there. So in 1 month, at least numbers are finalized. So prior preparation we do even working on notes prior to the close of the year, so that things are in place. So it is possible. So if we do it, otherwise, that's what we have been doing it for the last 4-5 years.
That's why I said that we work in different cultures in our lifetime. But to say that it is possible to do in all the companies.
But still, I would agree with you that the way you said that if it comes out from the ERP system, though we have error reports made out, which are taking care of budget, and we also have multi-location scenarios. 28 different locations are there. Location-wise, all are profit centers. Each profit center has a separate budget. And we start the budgeting exercise from December. So tomorrow the strategy meet is to take place, and from there we will start up. And this will go on till 15th of March. And in 15 days we will consolidate everything. And by 1st of April the budget will be in place in ERP. That's how we do it. So
I'm saying that about the financial reporting. So our financial reporting is not only on numbers, they are on the notes to accounts as well. So we spend a considerable amount of time on the notes to accounts, the drafting. So those things,
only
the entire financial reporting from a statutory perspective is not in real time to come.
Yeah, so I think what is right now, earlier Schedule 6 and right now it is Schedule 3. So that thing, 100% coming from ERP is practical.
100% is not possible.
So it's a practical issue. And that's where
Otherwise, Excel as a tool would have been dead till now.
And our jobs would be at stake.
I would say one more example to you. More so with India's challenges.
Yeah, India's.
Let's say right now we have got 7 partnerships. So we are investing in multiple partnerships with SPV. Each and every partner has its own interpretation of the same transaction. How do we console? Can you implement a common ERP system across all the SPV which are with different partners, and how can you consolidate? So challenges are multifarious, and that's where we have to depend upon Excel to take a holistic view.
Well, I'd like to thank all the panelists and the audience.